they was having an outdoor what camp meeting, and Dad wanted to go, and he didn't have any shoes, and he wasn't very old, and so he put on a pair of my granddad's boots and went walking down that aisle with them boots on, and after that he was called Boots the rest of his life. Around Ballinger and all them, and then he met Mother they had moved to Levelland, and he met Mother at O'Donnell. But they were raised up in I can't remember the county, but it's all around Ballinger and through there. Farm. Till we moved into Whiteface nearly. He was janitor, but he still had a farm, and then my granddad and grandmother had a farm between Levelland and Whiteface. And Quentin got into some of the farming. Joe and I never, as far as Dad, we never drove a tractor for Dad or anything. But then when Joe got older, he went to farming, and I never did want to farm. I didn't want to sit on a tractor. And so Joe done pretty good farming. Then two years between every one of us. Quentin, Marlene was too old for him, I was too under her, Joe's too under me. What the problem is. He's the baby of the family. He got by with everything. Now, he won't tell you that. Everybody knows that him being the baby, that was his biggest downfall. Yes, I went my first grade year at Lehman, and it just had the first 8 grades. Joe, we'd done consolidated into Whiteface when Joe started the school. Now, there's just one store and a depot, and the school covered a lot of country, the school district did. You got in the 8th grade, you went to Morton, but then when they consolidated, when it closed down, they consolidated into Whiteface. Janitor, bus driver, anything at Lehman, and then he went to Whiteface. He was janitor and drove a school bus then too. And Joe and I swept more schoolhouses than a lot of people have been. But the people at Whiteface was the best people in the world. They treated us, they give us jobs when we didn't even need jobs. And that was one thing about it. The best thing Dad ever done for all of us kids was taught us to work. Yeah, Joe one time got a week's vacation, and I had a service station. He came to work that morning. He wanted some extra money. I had about 13 or 14 truck flats laying on the floor to be fixed. He started, and the minute he come in there where I was, he said, "Don, I got a week's vacation coming in. I'm taking it. I'm leaving now." Used to, back when we was littler, we didn't have electricity. We had wind chargers. And the school had 48 batteries down in the basement that thing kept charged up. And at our house, the radio was all battery, and we'd go in and sit on Mother and Dad's bed and listen to Fibber McGee and Molly, the Squeaking Door, the Texas Ranger, all them old time. And we thought, but if the radio went to going down, the battery, you could set it by the fire, and it would pick up and run just a little longer, you know. And people don't realize, I've told people about how bad the sand was there.
Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with songs by Martha Tilton and the King's Men, and music by Billy Mills. The show opens with Great Day. neighborhood school just as the recess bell rang, and I stopped and watched as the youngsters came tumbling and racing out of the building like a herd of wild animals. Do you know what I thought about first? The abused floors in that school, and what a job it must be to protect them against that daily onslaught and keep them nice looking. You'll be interested to know that the makers of Johnson products have developed special wax polishes for floors in schools, office buildings, and hospitals. Floors that take a much heavier traffic beating than your floors at home. The next time you walk down a school or hospital or office building corridor, see if the floors look well cared for. If they do, chances are they're protected with Johnson's wax polishes. And just as your Johnson's wax and glow coat save you both work and money, these special polishes developed for heavy traffic use also affect very large savings to the owners and managers of these properties. When you're buying polishes for your home, it will pay you always to insist upon the genuine Johnson's wax polishes. Have you ever stood in your front door for half an hour saying goodbye to a visitor who wouldn't go home? Exasperating, isn't it? Well, here at 79 Wistful Vista, with his large...
Living around that old Lehman schoolhouse. We had lots of fun around that old schoolhouse after it was closed down, and a lot of times we'd have a lot of company. We'd go out there and sleep in the old schoolhouse. But us kids, that old schoolhouse, it had wood floors. And when it'd go cooling off at night, the floors would go to popping, and you'd just think somebody was coming after you. So they tore it down. A man bought it, and took the brick down, and built a house out of all the brick out of that schoolhouse. So that place got a good school, oil school. That's what's tell about Whiteface is the oil. They've really done lots of things at Whiteface. Yeah, see. Back when we was going to school, they built that new gym that they played, everybody come and played their games in, and it was really nice. Swimming pool, it's the kids from the elementary goes underground to the cafeteria. It's really a nice school. Seniors in my class. I don't remember how many Joe had. Not a whole lot more, but I think there was more. I think in Joe's class it was. See, when Girls Town come into Whiteface, it put us up into an A district. And we didn't have any more boys than we did playing football or anything. And it was a booger bar for 2 or 3 years. We was playing schools that was much bigger and had so many more kids. They'd beat us 40 to nothing. Dad had 12 brothers and sisters. There was 12 of them with Dad, and the ones that lived in Lubbock every Sunday came out to Grandma and Granddad. We always went over there to Grandma every Sunday, and all the cousins and everybody got more trouble than it's worth, but we always had a good time. They lived between Whiteface and Levelland. They farmed. Grandmother sold eggs. She had chickens all over the place. That was one of our deals when we went over there to gather eggs. If you got a little bitty egg, it was worth so much, and if you got a double yolk egg, you got a nickel or a dime for that. So, boy, everybody would really go through everything looking for the right kind so we could get money for it. Found them certain eggs, and boy, you'd really go hunting them everywhere for them. Granddad died when, I'm just barely remembering. Joe and I Joe might have been 4 or 5 when Granddad died. And Grandmother lived with Uncle Lewis and Uncle Yule, and then us a certain time all time till she passed away. She was nearly 90. Joe and all of us, we had one another. That was the thing about it. Started out with Joe. He was a little angel till he got to where he could walk. And when he got to where he could walk, everything's changed. And for the first a lot of years, Joe and I done everything together. It didn't matter if one of us was in trouble, the other was in trouble. Well, the first thing we done, we had a superintendent there that was named Mr. McCaslin. And his wife, every time she left, she come back with 4 or 5 cats. And we had cats running everywhere. So Dad shot some cats. They went to town one Saturday after groceries, and Joe and I caught a bunch and put them in a sack, tied them in a tree, and took baseball bats to them. And when Dad come home, that wasn't a very pleasant part of the day. But then when Joe got a little older, he liked to play with matches. And Dad had just put up a big haystack for the winter, and he went out to the privy and told Mother that's what he needed, and he set that thing afire. Well, a neighbor seen it. He came over and run a tractor through it so it wouldn't burn the whole thing down. Dad come in and he beat Joe within an inch of his life. And we had 2 school teachers that lived beside us there at Lehman. And they come over and told Dad if he whooped him again. And when done that, Dad just jerked him up. They like got him beat to death now. But he did quit playing with matches. But then we could go anywhere. For the first few years, anywhere I was, Joe was, we was always together. And then when we moved into Whiteface, we got to throwing watermelons in the dadgum mayor's yard, throwing firecrackers in his yard. And then when her dad passed away, Quentin kind of took over running everything, and he had a time with Joe and I. And Joe has sold me a dead horse. There's nothing he won't do. You can't believe how much. Marlene was as scared of mice as she was anything. And we would catch a mouse and run her all over the place. But she could pick up a snake and then run us all over the place, because I don't like snakes. Joe, none of us, but she was, but we did give her fits. Me enjoyed harassing her a little. Quentin was the only one that kind of just wanted us to do what we should, and he had a hard time keeping us in line. He was the easygoing person of the family, really. He was like Mother. Mother, I never heard Mother say a bad word about anybody. And Quentin was kind of that way too. My Dad enjoyed life, cut up with us. We picked at him all the time. He picked at us. There was 2 people that showed all of us that they really cared. I lived in Whiteface. That's where I met Kay. We got married. She was 15 and I was 18. And we stayed with it. And that's where Joe and Darla, they got married right after they got out of school. And, well, I guess it was, because we never did really ask. We just got married, you know. No, Mother was plenty satisfied with it. I've got a little old house right beside Mother, so we could take care of her. Mother couldn't drive a car, and so then Joe and them, they moved to Seminole at that time, was farming, and it was a good time. Not like we did when Quentin was alive, but we see them, especially Jerry and Wade. I guess we talked to them, and Joe Don. Well, we talked to him quite a bit. Now Wally, they live in Oklahoma, and we hadn't talked to him a lot. And Laurie, she's in Midland, and I talk to her every now and then. Well, Joe's girls and my girls growed up real close together. And when Dusty was little, I'll tell you what, he was the grandest thing there ever was around. Yeah, he was the youngest. We had lots of fun with Dusty when he was little. We'd take vacations together, and I'll tell you what, that kid was a mess.
Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels like this world's gone crazy. Grandpa, take me back to yesterday, when the line between right and wrong didn't seem so hazy. Did lovers really fall in love to stay and stand beside each other, come what may? Is the promise really something people kept, not just something they would say? Families really bow their heads to pray. Daddies really never go away. Oh, oh, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days.
Talk to the man himself, Joe Rhodes. How did Joe Rhodes Boot Shop all come about, Joe?
Oh, we've been in business about 18 years. We just had a friend that sold used boots, and we got
Hi
selling
there,
used
what's
boots.
your name?
Jerry Rhodes?
Jay Rhodes, is that right?
No, Jerry.
Jerry.
Tell me where you from?
Giddings, Texas.
From where?
Giddings.
Giddings, Texas. Where is Giddings?
I live at Austin, North Austin.
How old are you?
11.
You're 11 years old, and are you related to this man you're standing next to?
Yeah, he's my uncle.
He's your uncle. Who's your mother and daddy?
Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Quentin Rhodes, and Mrs. Kathy Rhodes.
What does your dad do?
He works for a pipeline company.
And what grade are you going to be in next year?
6.
Sixth grade. Glad you came out to West Camp for the big boot sale.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun for everybody.
Jordan Rhodes
And where do you live?
in Giddings, Texas.
In Giddings. That was your brother we talked to, was it?
I guess so. I don't know.
Yes, it was it. And who are your parents?
Quentin and Kathy Rhodes.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I've got 2 brothers and 1 sister.
I swear there was 10 or 12. They have all these many nieces and nephews. How old are you?
19.
You're 19. And have you graduated from high school?
No, ma'am, not yet. Nearly.
Next year?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And what's your name?
Quentin Rhodes.
You're the father?
I'm the father.
Okay, one of the fathers. And how many children do you
I
have?
have 5 boys and 1 girl.
What do you do, Quentin?
I work for a Perry Gas Company in Giddings, Texas.
How long have you all lived in Giddings?
About 7 years.
You're going to have to get him out here as a boot salesman. He can sell long, tall boots every year.
Yes, sir.
That's got a partner, we've been told, here at Joe Rhodes Boot Shop. What's your name?
Dusty Rhodes.
And Dusty, what are you holding there?
True cowboy boot.
A true cowboy boot. And it's a Dallas cowboy boot, it looks like to me. And Dusty, do you have people who come in and call for boots such as this, or do they even know they exist?
Well, some people, you know, they don't know. They're just coming in to look, but not many people's coming in to ask for the cowboy boot. But
Now, do you carry this particular boot regularly, or is it just something special this week?
well, we've got some others of this. You know, we've had them for a while, but hopefully we'll them all right.
And all this week, from 9 in the morning until 10 at night.
Yes, ma'am.
Every day, this week through Saturday, June the 14th at Joe Rhodes Boot Shop. Dusty, how old are you?
I'm 14.
And what grade will you be in next year?
I'll be a sophomore.
You'll be a sophomore at Muleshoe High School. And what's this young man's name?
Chris Young.
And it's one of your granddaughters, right?
I'm LaVon.
And LaVon, what's your last name now?
Hunt.
LaVon Hunt. You live close by too, don't you?
I just live 2 miles.
2 miles up the road, And you get in on some of the work too.
Uh-huh.
And what's your husband's name?
Curtis.
And does your mother-in-law still work over here?
Occasionally. Not as often as she did.
She's working full-time now, I hear, every day. Or is she still?
Well, she just worked like 3 months.
Oh, just 3 months. I didn't figure now to be able to work that much. Okay, now you have some children?
I have one son, Corey.
You just answered my question. How old's Corey?
He's 18 months.
He's 18 months old, and he's a handful. An armful. And does he wear little boots?
Not right now. We can't find any that's wide enough for him.
Oh, goodness, that's a problem. Thank you for talking with us. You all are the money takers. Other half of that family is who?
Curtis.
And Curtis, where do you all live? 2 miles which way? She said up the
East.
East, 2 miles east. Have you always lived right out here?
Right out here.
You always lived next to the roads?
Yeah, and Mom and Dad always lived right close.
And you graduated from Millshoe High School?
Yes.
Your mother and daddy are who?
Robert and Elda Hunt.
And you farm, I assume?
Yes.
How's farming?
Oh, about like everybody else said, just so-so.
Just so. And do you wear boots from Joe Rhodes?
You bet.
I'd hate for you to say no.
That wouldn't be very good.
Did they ever make you work out here?
I'm helping them today, and I help when they need it, but most of the time they got other people to.
You're just a good helper.
Right.
Good helper. Thank you, Curtis Hunt. To add a festive atmosphere, even a clown is here.
Yeah, I'm here at Joe's Boot Shop trying to sell a few boots for him.
How are you doing?
I'm just doing real good.
Right. How far did you have to come, Mr. Clam, or are you Ms. Clam?
I'm a Mrs. Clown. I came all the way from Houston, Texas.
My goodness, now, if you did that, you have to be a Rhodes.
I am a Rhodes.
And who are you?
My name's Jorinda Northcutt.
And you all live right outside of Houston?
That's right.
What are you doing, Jorinda?
I'm a nurse at Texas Children's Hospital.
Sometimes do you dress up like this and go in and visit with the children?
Well, I haven't yet, but I might start something now.
Oh, I think you should. They'd like that.
Well, I think they would enjoy it, yes.
And your husband is who?
Mark Northcutt.
How's he doing?
He is doing really well.
Oh, we're so glad to hear that. The more important half, Darla Rhodes out here. Darla, how did this all come about that you even have a boot shop?
Well, it started a long time ago, and we got into the business, and it's just kind of grown, and so...
Where did you sell your first pair of boots?
We sold it out of a bedroom when we lived over about 3 miles south and east of here.
Out of the bedroom. Is it convenient to have a boot shop or any business in your home?
Well, it's very convenient because if you don't have a customer, you can do other things. And it's convenient because we don't have just certain hours. You know, we do most of our selling sometimes, some days after 6 o'clock.
This is Corey Hunt.
How old is Corey?
He's about 18 months old, is that right?
And his parents are who?
Curtis and LaVon Hunt.
And how does the chicken go, huh, Corey?
How's chicken go?
What about the cow? What's the cow say?
What's the cow say? Huh? How's the duck go? Huh? How's the duck go? You talk?
And they say they haven't found any little boots for you yet. Huh? Do you like boots? Yeah.
Take it, yeah.
Oh. You sure did look cute today for the big sale, though, Corey.
Well, I'm the next generation boot seller.
Yeah. Is that better than farming?
Sure is.
We've been out here at Joe Rhodes Boot Shop, and I believe this is a family reunion for them. Don't y'all think so? Looks like it, and there's a lot of fun. And you come out this week. They're open from 9 in the morning till 10 at night at the West Camp community.
Now we're talking with Darla Rhodes, the wife of Joe Rhodes, right?
Yes,
And Darla, are you going to be in the store here most of the time, you think, or quite a bit of the time?
No,
Boot Shop and Country Junction, and it's at the crossroads in Muleshoe. It's right where everybody can find it, isn't it, Joe Rhodes?
I hope so.
I know so. It looks like they found it today.
I believe they have.
Have you got any idea how many people have come through today?
I have no idea. We'll count the tickets after a while. We'll know.
Yeah, we want to know. And you're giving away some big gifts. And
Everything has changed.
the response. The people comes in quicker, and it stays in the mind longer. Trying to get more of a broad view.
It starts in 1967. The idea of selling a boot, the first count was only 11. The goal in mind was for business to succeed, because like all other people, there was a family to feed. As the years come and go, everyone comes to know Darla and, of course, old Joe. Business will continue to grow, so without further ado, we load up the boots and headed into Mule Shoe. Now with 10,000 boots, 5,000 hats of all X's, Joe's Boot Shop to be known as the biggest little boot shop in Texas. The next 15 years brings highs and lows. Even with the loss of great loved ones, Joe and Darla's dedication still shows. 2001 is now here, and without knowing that a change for Joe's Boot Shop is near. As we load the boxes and move once more, being across from Pete the Mule becomes no more. Now with 16,000 boots, 10,000 hats, we decide to add feed, tack, and furniture to all of that. With Clovis to be home now in a whole new state, it fits that Joe's Boot Shop make home the biggest calf roping in the United States. When cancer hits home to a loved one very dear, business drops a second and our faith reigns here. Joe and Darla then must make the call, which brings the biggest change of all. With Joe and Darla stepping down, grandson Coley is owner bound. It's been a year that he's led the name, but the gratitude to our customers remained the same. So thank you, and wishing you a happy
I'll
New
say
Year.
one thing. I'm proud the good Lord gave me his brother. I'm really proud of Joe and everything from Darla both done.
Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels like this world's gone crazy. Grandpa,